Welcome back to Central Valley Talk. I'm Mike Briggs, the host of the show. We've been coming here to you since 2008, celebrating what's good about Fresno and learning about Fresno businesses and what people do in Fresno and cool things coming up. We've been hearing a lot. Every 5 minutes on my TV set, another commercial pops up. Personal injury, if you've been hurt, call us. Well, I've asked an expert in to talk to us about that issue, Lyndsie Russell from the law firm Miles, Sears, and Eanni. I mean, since I was a little kid, I heard that name, Miles, Sears, and Eanni, and you work for them.
I do. I'm one of the partners there.
How long have they been around in Fresno?
We've been around since 1956, so we've been here quite a while.
Now, whenever I talk to somebody who's going to hire an attorney, I always say, hire a person who specializes in that field.
Right.
Because a lot of attorneys say, oh, we're general, we handle everything. But now, you want to go to a specialist.
You do. And I think a lot of people think personal injury, how hard can it be, right? It's most of it, it's a car accident. But there's a lot of nuances that really take a specialist to know, and that's all we do, and that's all we've done since
Your whole
the beginning.
firm does personal injury.
That's it. There's 4 of us.
By the way, and I'm going to ask you about this in a minute. I've heard you have a podcast.
I do.
And
I do.
This is what you talk about on the podcast?
We do true crime too. We do Fresno true crime. We do true crime up in Northern California. We do civil cases and really all things legal.
Okay, excellent. On the podcast. What is the podcast, by the way?
It's called A Place in the Courtroom.
A Place in the Courtroom. I'm going to listen to that. Now, in the introduction, I said every 5 minutes on my TV, another guy claiming to be our local guy for personal injury. If you're injured, call us. But
Right.
they're not especially local, I don't think.
They're not. A lot of firms have multiple offices throughout all of California. Many of them are either based in the Bay Area or they're based down in Southern California. They may have a quote-unquote office here, but they're not a true local. They
Yeah.
don't live here.
Yeah, it's so. Why is it? Let me ask it. I was going to say it's important to go local, but why would that be for an attorney?
Really what we see is a lot of the LA and the bigger firms, a lot of our clients who sometimes get frustrated with those attorneys and then end up coming to us, what they complain of is they end up having a case manager, and that's it. They never can get a hold of an attorney. They're, shuffled through the system. They don't really know what's going on, and that's just not how our firm handles our cases.
And I guess especially if you're going to be in the Fresno court.
Right.
You're really going to want a Fresno or Madera court or Tulare court or anything around here.
It is. We do know our bench, like many of the other attorneys in Fresno. It's a very small legal community, so we know our judges.
Yeah, I don't see your commercials.
We have one for working with PBS, but other than that, no.
Yeah.
We don't really advertise. We don't do billboards.
In the old days when I was a kid, attorneys couldn't advertise
Right.
or wouldn't or something. Whenever I see an attorney on TV advertise, I'm a little cautious.
It can be a little scammy, and it gives us the name of the ambulance chasers that
Yeah.
everybody thinks of when you hear personal injury
There you
attorney, and we try to stay away from that.
What has made me not call when I'm in a car crash or something, not call an attorney, is I'm afraid of just talking to them, you're going to get a bill.
Right. That is something that happens with a lot of attorneys for personal injury, at least for us. We do free consultations. And then we handle cases on what's called a contingency basis, which you hear the cheesy ads that if you don't win, we don't get paid. That's what it is.
So if somebody comes to you, they don't have to have any money.
No, they
Okay.
don't. And a lot of our clients, don't have the resources to be able to hire an attorney.
So if somebody is in an accident, there's no reason not to just go talk to you guys.
We always do free consultations. We'll let you know if we think it's something that we can handle, but we really pride ourselves in trying to explain either why it's something we could handle, or if it's a small case, a lot of the times clients can handle it on their own and not have to pay us.
Sometimes you send them away.
We do,
Oh.
and say you can handle it on your own, but if you have problems and you need us to handle it, you're free to come back.
What if you're in a crash or you're hurt at a friend or family member's house? Some people are hesitant to talk to an attorney.
They are. I totally understand, right? You don't want to sue your grandma. You don't want to sue your best friend. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is what we go after insurance. We don't go after personal assets. We're not going to take somebody's house.
So really, if I sue somebody, I'm suing their insurance company, kind of.
Yes.
That's a good, valid thing.
Yes.
So if anybody's hurt, they should just call Lyndsie. Wow. It's become very clear. What else do you want to tell our viewers?
Well, I can talk a little bit about our podcast. So one of our law clerks, she's one of my former mock trial students at Fresno State. I was a a member there, and then I helped coach once I became an attorney. We started this podcast. We think it's pretty good. I mean, granted, it's ours, but we like it. We think it helps highlight some of the crimes that we've had in the Fresno Valley and also give a story to victims.
Yeah, that was my next question. Will we hear about Fresno stuff on the podcast?
We do.
True crime and
we are.
things like that.
So we're prepping right now to do Marcus Wesson. So that's going to take all of next month.
Yeah, a lot of younger people won't know the name Marcus Wesson.
A lot of people don't know, especially if you're not from the Central Valley.
Yeah, I think the whole thing happened pretty close to here in the Tower District.
It did.
Yeah, so I'll be anxious to hear that. 'Cause
Oh, good.
I wasn't paying a lot of attention at the time, but it really dominated the news. So,
Yeah, it did.
yeah. Our guest is Lyndsie Russell from Miles, Sears, and Eanni, and we're talking about personal injury and your podcast. Say the name again.
A Place in the Courtroom.
Say somebody is old and they don't know how to get to a podcast. Where would we start?
So if you're comfortable with a computer, we have a website. It's called www.aplaceinthecourtroompodcast.com.
Okay.
Our episodes are there. Or really, if you have Audible, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, all of those. We're on all of those different apps.
And is it usually free to access that?
It is completely
Yeah,
free.
good. Well, people always ask me, why isn't Central Valley Talk? Why isn't it a podcast? Why is it just a website? I said,
Right.
because I don't know anything about how to even get to podcasts, but everybody can find a website, and that's
Right.
what I like about your podcast.
Yes.
Just go to the website and listen to it there.
Yes.
Okay, once again, for personal injury, who should be calling you?
Really, anybody that's injured, we do a little bit of medical malpractice. If you have been in any sort of car accident where you've been hurt, it's always a good chance to talk to an attorney and figure out what options do you have.
Yeah, I guess one thought I have, even if you're not a litigious person, if you're going to have a bill, like a medical bill that you're going to be paying for 5 or
Right.
10 years, and that could have been covered by some insurance, someone else's insurance, then you should probably talk to an attorney. Should you get an attorney to represent you against your own insurance company?
Sometimes it does happen. So if you've been in a car accident and say the other driver didn't have enough insurance, sometimes you do have to turn to your own insurance because unfortunately a lot of people either don't have enough coverage to provide for serious injuries. So sometimes you do have to turn to your own, and at that point you kind of become adverse to your own insurance company. They're not necessarily looking out for your best interest because they don't want to pay the full amount.
Very good. All right. Well, if you have any question on that, call Lyndsie Russell. Can they just call your office and say, can I talk to Lyndsie?
They can.
What is that number?
It is 559-486-5200, and we'll get one of our staff members, and they'll do an intake. They give one of the attorneys the information, either to me or one of our other partners there, and then we review the case and see if it's something we can help with.
486-5200. I memorized.
It's
right?
easy.
All right. Thank you for coming.
Thank
It
you
means
so
a
much
lot
for
to me.
having me.
Lyndsie Russell, an attorney with Miles, Sears, and Eanni. And by the way, congratulations. I mean, getting through college, getting through law school, and getting with this great firm. That's a
It is.
lot of things that had to fall into place for
It
that.
did.
All right. We'll be back with more Central Valley Talk right after this.